Hi everyone, welcome back. Today's project, just in time for the season, it's a Christmas layout in Z-scale. Now we'll be using the Rokuhan Shorty locomotive and track, and we'll be building the layout on a Basswood country round. They used a little cross-cut wooden plaques with natural bark. Now the natural bark is beautiful stuff, as you can see, but since it is kiln-dried wood, if you don't do this step here, and that is to make sure that the bark is adhered to the rest of the wood, it will flake off with handling. So, as you can see, I'm absolutely saturating the bark, and as long as I'm at it, I'm just sealing the top and the bottom of the tree as well. And here, I'm just going over the top and the bottom with the brush, just to get all my lines kind of in a row. No real big reason to do this, just to kind of give it a neat appearance. And then, we simply let it dry. Now for the top of the layout, I wanted to go with something a little glossier. I was going to pick up some polyurethane or some kind of varnish, and I thought as long as we're going with a Mod Podge theme, let's stick with that. So I went with Podge Gloss, and instead of a bristle brush, I went with foam brushes, mixed up the Mod Podge again, thinned it with water, and went with foam brushes. This way I could minimize the streaking or the brush marks. I went with 3 coats of the Mod Podge Gloss, and here I am just smoothing out the final coat with a wider foam brush. Okay, here's the piece dried. Underneath there's the matte finish, and up on top we've got the 3 coats of the gloss. Not bad. Now, this is how our track's going to look up on top. We're getting there. Okay, now it's everyone's favorite time, LEDs and batteries and resistors. Fortunately, in this setup, we're not going to mess with resistors at all because the little coin cells that we're going to be using have quite a bit of internal resistance and they're close to the forward voltage of the LED. Basically what that means is we can plug LEDs right into these little coin cell holders. Nice. These coin cell holders are typically used to sew right into clothing, like scarves or ties, that sort of thing. But we can absolutely use them in this project with just a touch of CA glue and a single screw. And they're not going anywhere. Perfect. Okay, it's time to attach the track to the top of the board, and how else but with epoxy. Rather than going with screws or nails or anything like that, a little bit of 2-part epoxy, a couple of clamps, clean up a little bit of the excess, and you are all set. Now the semi-exciting part. It's really not that tough. Most of the LEDs you can pick up off eBay or from AliExpress. They'll come with a red wire and a black wire. Basically, solder the red wire to the positive, solder the black wire to the negative, and that's it. You're set. Now I've added a 3rd coin cell here because I got greedy and it's Christmas. And here we go. We've got 3 little street lights for our scene. Not bad. After I made sure the lights were working, I just went back in and sort of potted the electronics, basically painting them with epoxy just to make sure none of the wires would get accidentally pulled out. And up top, we've got some of the Rokuhan buildings in place with some CA glue. Now we picked these up from Z-Track Center. Actually, they sent us these buildings. And we've got the makings of a little Christmas town in progress. Okay, now we bring out the big tools. Since I'm going to be adding trees here, I didn't want to just rely on a touch of glue, so I'm pre-drilling some holes and kind of test fitting a lot of the trees I'll be adding. Once I've got some hole placement and the trees lined up about where I want them, a little bit of CA glue on the end of a toothpick and just get the trees in place. We've got some pretty tight tolerances here, so we're going to have to do a little bit of creative landscaping just to make sure the train can get around the track without hitting Christmas trees. I think we've greened up pretty nicely here. You can also see the real benefit of adding that, soaking the piece earlier in the Mod Podge, because even handling one of these Basswood Rounds this much, boy, you would see pieces of wood fleck off. And here we go with a nice test run. We're not hitting any trees. Life is good. Beginning the winterization, we're going with a bit of Mod Podge as our adhesive, and going with some of the NOCH snow. Just flecked right up on top and going to adhere to this. Now, something really interesting happened with this NOCH snow. We'll get to in a minute, but for right now, there we go, a little bit of snow on both sides of the tracks. A quick blow, and it's gone. Now, this looks nice and white, which is terrific, but it's not going to stay that way. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Here I'm also adding the Mod Podge to the trees, brushing it on, and I've already begun adding the NOCH snow because, well, who doesn't want snow on their trees? It's Christmas after all. Okay, now here's a lot of the snow going on. Now I knew much of this snow would come off because it's only going to adhere where the Mod Podge was, but what I didn't expect was this. Once the snow dried, it really absorbed the Mod Podge and it kind of gave everything an icy, frozen effect, which is actually kind of interesting. This frozen look isn't really what I planned, but I do kind of like it. Still, I wanted a bit of what appeared to be snow on the branches, so I just picked up a little bit of latex titanium white and just touched the trees up to simulate a bit of snow. A few more brush strokes here and there, and I think we're ready to run our Christmas train. You know, it's almost like I timed that. We're using the Rokuhan controller, the little portable one that runs on a couple of AA batteries, and one of the things I like about this little layout, it's so self-contained. The controller runs on a couple of batteries, the lights are taken care of by the coin cells underneath. This layout can sit any place, which is really a nice feature. I think we can put a bow on our Christmas layout for this year. We're done. Now we just get to enjoy the train running. Thanks for watching the video, and remember to like and subscribe to our channel. And to everyone, a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and have a terrific New Year.